Okay. Hey, Vonda. Um, I want to start this with like a light kind of clip that I think is like super funny. It's like an old clip, and some of you may have heard of it. I had not seen it, but I thought that it was like really hilarious. Um, and I'm gonna play it just because I think we'll get a kick out of it. Not because it really has anything to do with today's video. It's really short. It's only like 4 minutes long. And then I'll get into like my intro and the video and all that jazz. This is on the word, the N word, that some people feel comfortable saying. I'm not super comfortable saying it, but let me go ahead and give. Well, I don't even know if I'm gonna give a copyright disclaimer for this, but let me just do it anyway. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107. All right, so I'm gonna play this little news clip just because it's super old, but it just had me cracking up, y'all. I was cracking up when I saw this. My man showed it to me, and I was like, literally, well, I'm gonna let the man explain it. Okay, I'm gonna let him explain it, which N word it is. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. I have so many things going on, y'all. I just hope you can hear me and things are right throughout this whole thing because I have like so many windows open and so many devices hooked up to this computer to make this live work. We're going to get into a really good discussion in this live. But like I said, the clip I'm about to play has nothing to do with this live, you guys. I'm simply playing it because I thought it was funny as heck. And I just wanted to share it with you guys so we can all have a good laugh. And then we'll get into the real life, which is dealing with setting a black standard of beauty. And I'm going to use a class at Penn State that dealt with skin color to prove my point, and to make some other points about why we need to have the darkest, kinkiest haired, most strong featured Black people as our standard of beauty. So, but yeah, first of all, let me share this with you guys because this is funny. Hold on. Screen share. All right. So you guys should be able to see this. This cracked me up. I hope that all my volume and everything works right.
Well, it is a word that evokes many emotions in people. It's a derogatory racial remark that has divided people for many years.
And a Jefferson County high school teacher has now received the longest suspension on record for calling a student the N-word. WHAS 11's defender Renee Murphy investigates what happened and why in this story you'll only see on 11.
Valley Traditional High School is in the middle of a racial controversy right now. A teacher used the N-word towards a student. The word is only 6 letters long, but the impact is far-reaching. And we do want to warn you that some of the language in this story is strong, and it may offend you, it may offend some other people. But since the story is not just about the N-word, it's also about the teacher's intent and definition of the word, we have decided to leave it in the story for you to decide.
And what did he say specifically to you?
Sit down, nigga.
Keyshawn Chambers is a freshman at Valley High School, a Boy Scout, a football player, a member of the ROTC, an honor roll student. He was hanging around his teacher's classroom door in December. The teacher told him to sit down, and the teacher says that Keyshawn used the N-word first.
And I just kind of was stunned a second. Well, then get away from the door, nigga. And I repeated the same insult because that's sort of what I've been trained to do.
The school district says that is not what they trained English teacher Paul Dawson to do.
He tried to say I said it, and I didn't say it, and no one else in the class knows that I said it because I didn't.
Documents from the school investigation show that several of the students interviewed from Valley did not hear Keyshawn say the N-word first. Dawson says that students use the slang version of the N-word at Valley High School all the time. He says Nigger is a racial slur, but says that students use Nigga as often as they'd say dude or hey man. And Dawson says as much as he does not like the word, he still used the slang version to feel more comfortable with Black students.
Why is this word used so frequently? So I just don't understand it. And I'm trying to understand it. I need help. Yes, I use nigga. I've used it. I admit it. I put the H on it to emphasize it's nigga. That, you know, nigga this, nigga please, nigga, you know, can you lend a nigga a pencil?
What kind of example are you setting for your students if you use a word that you don't want them?
Yo, wait, I just have to rewind it. Like, why did he do all the variations? I'm like mad at him.
Can you lend a nigga a pencil?
What kind of example are you setting for your students if you?
I just don't understand it. And I'm trying to understand it. I need help. Yes, I use nigga. I've used it. I admit it. I put the H on it to emphasize it's nigga. That, you know, nigga this, nigga please, nigga, you know, can you lend a nigga a pencil?
What kind of example are you setting for your students if you use a?
He said, "Can you lend a nigga a pencil?" I cannot. I'm sorry. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. Wait. Okay, that has nothing to do with today's video, but that's about as much as I haven't even seen the end of that clip. I promise you, because when he said I put the H on it to make it make all the difference. He said, "Can a nigga get a pencil?" I'm sorry, but like this is a good argument against using this word because why did he go and make the same argument that a lot of Black people use? Now, I don't care about usage of the word, like people do what they do. But when I saw this white man explain why what he did was not a problem, he did the breakdown. Y'all, I was dead. I was literally dead on the floor. I could not take it. Okay, so but seriously, y'all, let's get to the video. Like the real let's get to the real video though. Okay, so BMT, do you want to come up? You can come up for this. I just want to analyze a class that they're giving at Penn State. You guys, let me tell you something. I hate this professor. I don't know. He's a fruity type of professor. You know, he's got a million tribal necklaces on, a big old earring in his ear. I think he might be gay. Like a lot is going on with this professor, and I don't like him. His class is obviously very, very popular at Penn State. And he, like his class, I could literally do a video series on this man's classes because he tries to do the most with his class. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to yell at my children, but I'm sorry. I keep having flashbacks to that man. He's said, "Can a nigga get a pencil?" So this professor at Penn State, he really, really gets on my absolute and positive last nerve. Wait, BMT, I didn't see what you said. Were you coming up, Joe, or are you not coming up? Hey, Kevin. So Duma S said we need a Black teacher breaking down why he called a student a cracker. Probably educate more. So anyway, this professor at Penn State, I find him to be a disgusting human being because he really tries it. And because he comes off as progressive, like I said, he's one of those white people that's wearing like tribal jewelry. He's got a big old earring in his ear. He's down with the lingo, blah, blah, blah. He's probably gay. I get the gay vibe off of him and all that. Because he's that liberal, he's getting away with holding this class, and his class is packed, y'all. But this man is on some actual bullshit. And he did a whole class on skin color. And I want to use what went on in this class and analyze it to bring us into a conversation about why we need to make the standard of blackness the blackest, bluest person in the room with the whitest nose and the most juicy lips and the wooliest hair ever. And I want to say that this is necessary because of colonization and the fact that whites have upheld the whitest of the white. White skin, blonde hair, blue eyes, just as far white as you can get as their standard. Now, an average black person will say, well, the average black person will say, well, okay, black people come in all shapes and sizes and colors. And even with me making this statement, like I tap myself out, I wouldn't be the standard of beauty. I mean, my skin is dark, but it's not dark enough, right? And my hair is definitely not going to meet the standard. But what I recognize is that, and we will see this demonstrated in the class, that every culture that has been met with colonization, their standard leans toward the closest to the white standard as possible. And so because of this, we really, oh, wait. Can you guys hear me? Wait, because y'all know I always end up messing some stuff up. Let's make sure you guys can hear me. Oh, yeah, you heard me. Okay, because you said blue back. Okay. So so I wasn't going to do this live, right? But I'm going to tell you how the stars align. When I was on Nyla's panel, Bomb Cherry was on there, and she is a very light-skinned Black woman. And I think to some degree she's really mixed because she does have two grandparents, I think she spoke about, who are not Black. And there are people like her in my family. I was telling her, I was like, my sister is like you. Honey blonde hair, very, very fair skinned, light colored eyes. My grandmother looks like her. My aunt looks like her. Hell of my cousins look like her. Only the girls, though. Isn't that weird? Only the girls in my family come out with this kind of light bright, almost white, green, hazel, every other color but brown eyes and honey blonde hair look. So in my family, it's really common with the girls. So even though I have Bella Doll, who is mixed, she looks like my sister. She looks like my grandmother. She looks like my aunts and uncles. Like y'all know, in Black families, we have kids that come out this way. So she was saying her parents always told her that she was beautiful, et cetera, et cetera. And I was saying the standard for beauty in the Black community needs to be the darkest person with the most Afrocentric features. And she said, why can't we honor all beauty? And so I want to say two things. Number one, Chrissy has a channel completely built around the fact that a light-skinned woman would say something like that. Number two, society already praises closer to white. And we're going to see this play out in this Penn State class. Now, I want to be clear about something. This white man was not trying to accomplish anything good with his class because he rounds up his class, and we will see this, pointing out that people are always saying white people are fixated with color, but it's not just white people, it's everybody. So basically lay off of white people. I'm going to round up us analyzing his class with saying that white people are the cause of people pushing their standard of beauty toward whiteness. And to combat that, don't get me wrong, you could be beautiful no matter how you come, right? I like how I look, and I'm not ultra dark, but y'all, I'm not ultra light either. I like my skin color. I like my hair texture, even though it's not super woolly. But so you could be beautiful however you come. My little sister is gorgeous. Nikki is a beautiful woman. High yellow, light eyes, honey blonde hair. Like, she's cute, But that can't be our standard because of colonization, because our mindset is warped. And we're going to watch how this warped mindset plays out during this class, because he likes to use real people, his students, to prove points. And so that's why I want to pick on this teacher. Oh, I'll send you the link, BMT. So that's why I want to pick on this teacher. And I'm going to go ahead. I gave my original copyright disclaimer. I might have to give this again. You guys know that normally I rip the videos off of YouTube or wherever I have like a ripper to rip them off, but I was not able to rip this video, so we'll have to watch it on YouTube. But I have Prime, so there won't be commercials or anything. But I want to get into like a real serious conversation about what this white man was doing. And I want to talk about the reaction of the Black people and the non-whites in the room and what we hear. Like, I want us to have an honest conversation about this and learn and really speak to why we should promote it. Because there's a lot of stuff that we do in the Black community that I don't have a problem with per se, but that I can see is problematic because it can be damaging to us. And we see all of these things play out in this clip. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get that geared up. It looked like my sound was on point, so that's good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with that. And I tried to make it so that y'all could see me and you guys could also still see the clip at the same time. Let's see what I could do here. I'm trying to be fancy schmancy today, you guys. I'm trying to pretend like I know something, anything about technology. If it works, it's yet to be seen, but I'm going to give it the good old college try. Hold on, BMT. Let me send you the link. Let me send BMT the link too. And then if any of you guys wants to come up, as long as I know who you are, you're totally welcome to come. Why can't I see anything? What is going on? Oh, hold on. Maybe I need to make my thing bigger. That's crazy, you guys. What's going on with my... Okay, something's not right. Okay. Well, I know something's not right, Gmail. Gmail gets on my nerves. I couldn't see my stuff, and Gmail was like, something's not right. And I was like, well, no crap. I can't see anything. Okay, let me see. You guys see I'm touching my chin? Because I have like a little tiny, it's not a pimple. The pimple is gone, but I can still feel something there. And it's driving me crazy. And I know I shouldn't touch it, but I'm touching it nonetheless. Okay, BMC, let me try to find you. Where are you at? How come I can't see you? Okay, I'm just going to email it to you, BMC, because I couldn't find our chat. You know, we have an ongoing chat, and I could not find it. So I'm going to try to do it this way. Use some aloe. I don't have any aloe. And I'm trying my hardest to not mess with it. Because, you know, it's nothing there, but you know how your fingers are so sensitive that you can feel like the tiniest bumps on your skin. And I used to be one of those kids that would like pick a scab. Like, I won't pick a scab as an adult, but like as a kid, I would. And I know that it's still in me because I'm sending it to your Blackmail Talk email, BNC. Okay, so back to what we were doing, people. Let me close this out. Let me close that out before I share my screen. And all right, let's do this. Let me give my copyright disclaimer again, because my whole point is that I couldn't rip this video because something about it is unrippable. And so because something about it is not rippable, I want to make sure that I give a copyright disclaimer, because that must mean that they have this copyrighted in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, I want to make sure that, you know what, y'all don't need to see me while we watch this. What am I doing? Hold on. Okay, what do I have going on here? Okay, I'm ready. Procrastination over. Sharing happening right now. So let's see. All right, you guys. So I want to just break this down. Let me give my copyright disclaimer again. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. Thanks, Snap Turtle. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107. So we're going to be here for a little over an hour with each other today, but it's going to be an hour worth having. So let me go ahead and get this started.
We think, and again, this is the story that we are laying out, and that evolutionary biologists and anthropologists are laying out. The story is that human beings first started walking upright, what we identify as Homo sapiens, and around the Nilotic region, right about in the middle of that really dark spot in Africa. It's really hot. And as people started to move southward and northward away from the intense heat, evolution favored people who could cool their bodies more. And cooling bodies means getting rid of body hair. And so we see two things happen. We see human beings losing body hair. And then also, as we see human beings losing body hair, we see that, or I should just say evolution favors that, and then we see the skin darkening and around this region. So let me go back actually. So a couple of things happen, right? Evolution favors human beings being able to adapt in really, really hot climates. And that means losing body hair because that allows.
So he's going to give this whole spew, which we're going to pretty much skip over, but I do want to show you the map. So this is the map that he is using, and it maps out skin color because white people have done this. Now, Cynthia G would actually really love this because he goes into talking about how white skin, actually, I might back it up and let y'all listen to this because he goes into a long thing about how white people burn in the sun. Like, I'm not even kidding, y'all. He really does talk about it. And so I want us to look at this map. So all of the colored parts of this map are places where people have naturally dark skin. This really, like I said, the stars are aligning for this because this really ties into my series about what is Black and me making the argument for Blackness and that heavily melanated people, whether they be of African descent or not. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand everybody in the world is of African descent and don't get triggered, but even white people, because as I was pointing out, to Bomb Cherry on Nyla's Live, in sub-Saharan Africa, when you have 100% African DNA in a Black woman, she can still code for the genes that are expressed in white people. And so every variation of nose, eyes, lips, hair, skin color, all of those things are found in the Black women in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, when we see those things expressed here in the United States, it's because of admixture. But that's not the case when we're talking about the root of humanity. And so if you notice this map, this is pretty much the whole world, right? This is pretty much the whole world. And the pink and tan areas up here at the top, so the white to pink areas are the least of the world, and they're in the most inhospitable parts of the world. And so he goes into this long spew about how whites were developed basically to live in an inhospitable climate that lacks sunlight, where they could be indoors a lot. And this would have a lot to do with why their ancestors lived in caves. It was something they could do. It's something that we could never do. So I actually do think I'll back up on his lecture and let you guys hear that part of it. Well, Johnny Romaine Thomas, let's be clear. I'm a Christian, and so we were created. Like, I do believe we were created, but I also believe in microevolution. And there's a difference between macroevolution and microevolution. And it doesn't defy God's laws at all, because we see microevolution happening all the time. And that's how Christian apologists um, speak about how we get so many different species and justify Noah's Ark and all that. It doesn't defy our Christian belief to believe in microevolution, which is that the further away from the equator humans got, the more that their skin changed. Now, how they dispersed could be a question. I would say they dispersed because of what happened at the Tower of Babel, that God dispersed them. And evolutionary theorists would say they dispersed over billions of years, millions of years, traveling out of Africa, South America, and the warmer climates. So that's just a sidetrack, but I do want to back it up because he says some interesting things about white skin color.
Starting the process of recruiting people from this class and elsewhere who are interested in being, and then you can fill in the information that you need to fill in and then go to a dip in the pond. And we've started registering. And so what you'll notice is that the darkest shades are around the equator and all the way through. Okay. Now it shifts a little bit here because, you know, there are different there's topographical patterns, but and here's the idea that around the equator in this region, the Nilotic region, by the way, is we think, and again, this is the story that we are laying out, and that evolutionary biologists and anthropologists are laying out. The story is that human beings first started walking upright, what we identify as Homo sapiens, and around the Nilotic region, right about in the middle of that really dark spot in Africa. It's really hot. And as people started to move southward and northward away from the intense heat, evolution favored people who could cool their bodies more. And cooling bodies means getting rid of body hair. And so we see two things happen. We see human beings losing body hair. And then also, as we see human beings losing body hair,
Now, he's going to talk, and I just want to cut in really quick. So this is white people being apologists toward why they're different from the vast majority of all of humanity. So we know they're extremely hairy people, and they look very different. Even their women look very different. If their women don't remove the hair on their face, the hair on their bodies, they're extremely hairy. And they groom it so that it's just their hair that is thick and hairy, and their eyebrows that are a little bit thicker and bushier. And we've seen the modern beauty standard move toward making that what is normal. And then they're also very pale, and you know, they paint their bodies. They don't tan in the sun much anymore because it's so damaging to them. I think Cynthia covered that nicely, but something that she didn't cover was that when they do enter the sun, they get micro, like when they reach around 30, 40, they get micro wrinkles. So it looks like their skin has been like crumpled up like a paper bag and then reopened. So it's highly damaging to them. And then that leads into cancer and et cetera, et cetera. So he's speaking the science of apologetics, of why whites are different from everybody else on the planet. And we recognize that everybody on the planet is white, black, or mixed. And so we have all of these people who are not quite white, not quite black, tan in color, and those are people that have more admixture. And we see whole countries of this. And he's going to go into that a little bit here. And remember, we're listening to a Penn State lecture, which I find very fascinating. But don't be fooled by this white man, because like I said, his agenda is to prove that it's not white people fixated on skin color. It's all people fixated on skin color. And so all of this is to lead up to absolving whites of any uniqueness in this state?
Is melanin, and melanin happens to protect us from the UV rays of the sun. It just has an ability to do that. And so the darker your skin, the more your body just naturally protects from the UV rays. And that's important because all this conversation we have today about skin cancer, people have always been dealing with skin cancer. It's not just a new thing. It's not like today suddenly, oh my gosh, people are getting skin cancer. We've always gotten it. But early on, as human beings first started to kind of come into their own as Homo sapiens, the body just had a natural protection against that. And it could have been different, right? It could have been light-skinned people, lightly pigmented people were able to protect themselves from UV rays, or that's just how the chemical sort of compounding worked, but that's not how it was. And so darker skin has greater protection. But as you move northward and move southward, you don't need as much protection. In fact, you need more of those UV rays because that helps you produce calcium, because you need a certain amount of UV. It helps you produce calcium and folic acid and vitamin D, and we need all of those for healthy bodies and bones and so on. So as you move northward, the skin lightens, more UV rays come in, or as you move southward, the skin lightens, more UV rays are getting to your body. You need that because you got to get the calcium and the protection and so on and so forth. Okay, do we have that? You get it? Does it make sense? Right? So the issue, if you're really dark skinned and you live in a place like State College, then you actually need to make sure you get out into the sun, because you got to make sure you get excessive amounts of sun, especially in a place like this where we don't get a lot of sun in the middle of winter. But in the middle of winter, you got to make sure that you get enough sun so that your body has.
So he's about to bring up a really interesting point, actually, and that's that white people are always told to stay out of the sun, use UV protection, all of this. But when melanated people, heavily melanated people, move to climates that are cold, we aren't designed to be in cold climates. So when I was in a cold climate, my lips were chapping, my skin was very pale. We can actually get sick because our bodies are designed to withstand a lot of sun exposure. And vitamin D is not something that you can get from milk. First of all, Black people are lactose intolerant. Second of all, vitamin D from milk is not something that your body can absorb unless it's alongside vitamin C, and then only minimally. So where people really get vitamin D is from sunlight. Your body creates vitamin D by itself. The point that he's about to make is that whilst white people are always told to protect themselves, something they don't teach Black people is that if you don't live in a more tropical climate, in a climate that gets lots of sun, then we have to make an extra effort to go outside and get additional sun exposure. This is something white people don't have to do because they're not made to be in the sun. But we can actually suffer from a number of vitamin deficiencies if we are not in warm climates that get heavy sunlight, if we don't spend a significant amount of time outside. These are reasons that having an all-Black school that really teaches us how to take care of ourselves, especially as Black people are now living in climates that are not natural to what we were built for. This is why it would be so good to have those things. So this white man bringing this up is very interesting to me, but he's a liberal, so I'm not surprised. But that's the point that he's about to go into.
Body has a chance to take in those UV rays and you produce vitamin C and folic acid and calcium and so on, right? If you're really light skinned, say like me, in the wintertime, I need some, but I don't need that much sun. But if I was really dark skinned and I have all this natural protection, which is good in really sunny areas, but in really cloudy areas on sunny days, I got to make sure I go out and get in the sun, which is kind of interesting that when you think of all of the like warnings and public service announcements and all that we get telling white people, make sure you stay out of the sun, make sure you put sunscreen on, make sure you don't burn, because every time you burn it increases your risk of skin cancer and so on and so forth, right? It's interesting, we see a lot of that, but we don't see an equal number of announcements and public service announcements going toward darkly pigmented people saying, look, when you're like in this period of cloudy days or in an environment where there's a lot of cloudiness and not much sun, make sure that you get as much sun as you possibly can. But because if you don't, you run the risk of your body not producing enough vitamin D and calcium and folic acid and so on. And because that is actually a health risk for you. So it's just kind of an interesting thing, actually. I noticed that. And once in a while, I'll see it toward more darkly pigmented people, but not a lot. Okay, ma'am.
So let's go ahead and skip to when he brings some people out, because that's really the part I want to go to. He's going to go through something that I actually covered in my video about Blackness, which is how in some parts of the world, there are white people, for example, in India, in South India, the people are Black. They're almost blue-black a lot of the times. And then in Northern India, they're almost white. And how in those countries, the white people are always used to represent the country. They act like Black people aren't even there. And these are indigenous people. And so he's going to get into that discussion. We won't listen to that. You can see he's going to bring up this gentleman who is from South India, a darker Indian, but even he's very light, because in India, people get very, very dark. He also brings up this young lady. She's from Algeria, and it was said that she was actually too dark to represent Algeria. She was the first Black woman, and she's very fair-skinned to make it. So he brings up some case points like that. And then he does the thing that's controversial, which is he brings up a bunch of men, because he's gay. So he only wanted men. He brings up a bunch of young men, all who have different skin colors. And he's going to be bringing people out with different heritages to ask them what skin color is preferred by your community. And this is the part of the lecture that I really, really want to get into. So with that said, let's go ahead and we're going to talk about each of the 4 people that he brings out. And I just want to point out some things, and then we can get into like the overall discussion.
I'm going to bring them out one at a time to talk about skin, in your skin and in their culture, like who really has the ideal skin. Okay, are we cool with that? It's not about your face. It's not about whatever, anything like that. We're going to go with. All right, man, let's go with the first. How about if we go with the Swedish, right? Let's go with the Swedish one. Okay. Listen, here you go. So take a look at these guys here. In your culture, think about Sweden. And you can go with Scandinavian in general. It doesn't just have to be Sweden.
So let's just take a moment. She is the pinnacle of what whites consider beautiful, right? They're blonde bombshell, blonde hair, light colors eyes. Hell, she's Swedish. You just can't get more white. So what do white people think is the standard of beauty? The whitest of white people, what do they think is the standard of beauty? And then we're just going to watch it just go downhill from here.
Who has the ideal skin? Not for you. Who has the ideal skin? Like the person, if you brought that guy. This guy?
Yeah.
What makes his skin so Toth the auto body guy? What makes his skin ideal?
He has a lighter skin, I guess.
And
she said his skin is ideal because he has the lightest skin. And we're going to find in places where there's been colonization, that is the preference. The lighter your skin is, the more close to the ideal you are. And this goes into our wider discussion as to why Blackness, the deepest, darkest, blue gray, a blue purple, blue black hue of black people with the wooliest hair must be our standard, because we're hearing this white woman say that their standard is the whitest possible. She goes on to say he could be Swedish. And we're going to hear every other person that comes after her, and none of them have blonde hair and blue eyes, agree with her standard. It's going to be the saddest thing you'll ever see. I was like heartbroken when I watched this.
And then what does that say about him?
I don't know. Like, he could be Swedish, I guess.
Yeah. So in your culture,
Mhm.
like really, if the difference between this guy and this guy, nothing about their personalities, nothing about the politics of it, just in your culture.
Mhm.
So what about is there anything about politics that we should know about skin in your culture in Northern Europe? You know, it's just like, what are the issues? What are the conversations? What are the debates that you?
So we can skip through here. I don't really care about all that, what this chick is talking about. But so he's going to bring out a black woman now. The black woman. Couple things I want to note about the black woman. The first thing she does, because she's an American black, is he is racist, Carmen. He is literally racist. He's in this class with his gayness and his tribal jewelry and his earring, trying to act like he's liberal. But if this man isn't a racist, I have never met a racist. And liberals are often some of the worst racists, you know, because they're most dangerous because they get away with their racism. But his racism is going to come front and center toward the end of this lecture. And no, I agree with you. The woman is not a bombshell. She's not beautiful, but she meets the white standard of beauty. And so I'm using their terminology. She's Swedish. She's white. She's got blonde hair. She's got blue eyes. Their standard. And our standard of beauty is to try to get close to their standard. So we need to do the antithesis of this, right? We can't be on the same page as they are. We can't lean toward closer to white as our standard of beauty or valuing light colored eyes. I'm not saying light colored eyes aren't pretty, but you know what? The deeper, blacker the pool of your eyes looks, that should be our standard. Your eyes should be so dark, I'm scared of you. Okay, that should be our standard. The opposite, the complete and utter opposite. But he's about to bring out a black girl. Notes on the black girl. First of all, her hair is cute. It's not this black woman. I don't know why this woman is standing there. It's a black girl. She has some braids. Her braids are really on point. But the first thing she does is she separates herself from blackness by being a different kind of black. But then he's like, well, have you been to Jamaica? No. Where are you from? Someplace in America. So she tries to make that separation first. And so let's go ahead and watch that and then listen to what she has to say after she presents herself.
Like all cosmopolitan and all hip and all that kind of stuff, right? No, just on average, who's got the cool skin? Ideal skin. Which one? This guy?
Yeah.
He does? What makes his skin ideal?
Well, like
His name's Tevin, by the way.
Kevin.
Wait, what's your name?
Hannah.
Hannah?
Yeah.
Tevin with a T.
Oh, Tevin.
Yep. What makes his skin ideal? Like, what is that? What's the conversation?
Well, Nigeria.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It's the black girl that comes after her. The black girl that comes after her is what I'm talking about.
Nigeria's near the equator. So, yeah.
Hang on, though. So there's no like preference for, because look at what's your name, bro? August. Look at August here.
Could be too.
Hang on, August, come stand by Tevin. So you mean, so if you brought either one of those two people, would your friends talk about how light he is or how dark he is? Or would people talk about, how much would people talk about it? Because I know they do.
He's kind of close to me.
He's sort of close to York, but listen, I'm not talking about you. We're not talking about you, okay? You don't have to.
Notice the fact that he's not happy with her answer. So he brings out the other black girl that I was telling you about, the one who's going to lead off with, I'm not that kind of black. Her answer was she picked the darkest man in the lineup. And he wasn't happy with that. So he tries to bait her by bringing a slightly lighter, dark-skinned man. He's trying to bait her. He's trying to make a point that lighter is preferred. And as look at this little white boy in his chuckle, okay? As he gets more and more people to affirm the white beauty standard, I want you to watch the faces of the white people in the audience. I'm telling y'all, this was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
Represent Nigeria in some like hipster way. We know there's a lot of skin stuff happening in Nigeria. So what's the conversation between these two guys in Nigeria?
He gets on my nerves. We know there's a lot of skin stuff happening in Nigeria. Just couldn't stand for a dark-skinned Black woman to walk up and pick the man that looks like her. So he's going to try to force her to admit that there is a preference for lighter skin. He needs to be slapped. That's what I mean, these white liberals. I can't with them.
Because when I look at Nigerian like hipster magazines and like all of like pop culture stuff, I see a lot more dudes who look like this guy, August, than I see that look like Tevin. And Tevin isn't even really that dark. So you're saying that they would be equally preferenced?
Yeah, pretty much.
Don't lie, dude.
I mean, like my family.
I'm not talking about your family, dude. I'm talking about we're talking about like culture as a whole. So you don't have to represent it.
Fine.
Either or is fine.
Yeah.
Dude, do you want to comment on that?
Look, and then he's going to try to get the Black dude to turn against her. And this is what I'm saying. This man is freaking crazy to me. This gets worse. I don't want to get caught up like on this one part, but this actually pisses me off so much because she came out and picked the darkest one. And he was like, no, that can't be it. We all know there's skin stuff going on in Nigeria. We all know everybody wants to be white, is what he's saying. So then he brings up the slightly lighter Black dude and was like, are you sure they wouldn't prefer the slightly lighter one? And she's like, they'd be equally preferred. You know what I'm saying? She's like, especially in her family, they just want Black people. Oh, but he's not having that. So then he turns to the Black man and he tries to get him to turn on this Black woman to affirm what he wants to hear affirmed on this stage, which is that everybody prefers somebody lighter and closer to white. And everybody else is going to do it for him. This one Black woman is going to be the only Black person or anybody that's not European white. She's going to be the only one to not affirm what he wants her to affirm, which is that white is the preferred standard. And he can't stand it. You can see he's getting irritated with this. He's basically bullying her in the nicest of ways.
Hang on. Where are you from?
I'm from here, but my parents are from Haiti.
Uh-huh.
And
dude, nobody in Haiti. So I was in Haiti a couple months ago, and I looked at all the presidents. I went to the museum and looked at all of the presidents of Haiti over the past 200 years, and every one of them had his tone of skin. So go ahead. What would you say? Yeah, about the preference between you two. So what about Haiti? Who would be preferred in?
See, he's trying to pressure the Black man now. He's not going to accept this love of Black skin as an answer. He's just not going to expect it. He's not going to accept it. He's going to keep pressuring them until they admit that whiteness is the preferred.
In Haiti.
I'll say either or.
What's that?
Either or. My skin complexion is okay.
Yep.
And his skin complexion is also okay.
Yep.
So
okay.
I feel it's around equal.
Yep.
I feel like there is a light skin preference, but I wouldn't really.
I hate this dude, y'all. I promise you, he's gonna talk way too fucking much. Okay, he's talking now. I'm mad that the Haitian Black dude went with the African Black woman and was like, "Hey, Black is Black." Okay, it's all preferred equally. And then he's gonna snatch the mic, y'all. You see how he snatched the mic? I'm mad. Wait. Watch how he snatches the mic to affirm. He's like, somebody must affirm this white man. Let it be me. He just threw on his cape and grabbed that mic And he was like, lighter skin is preferred. So let's go. Let's just see the instant replay of the mic grab and the cape flinging.
Preferred in Haiti.
I'll say like either or.
What's that?
Either or. Like my skin complexion is like
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
and his skin complexion is also okay.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I feel it's like around like equal.
Yep.
I feel like there is a light skin preference, but I wouldn't really even consider myself light skin.
Yeah,
I would
I
definitely
would
consider
agree.
myself dark skin, but just not as dark as him. I
Not
still feel
compared
like-
to Ron down there.
I still feel like there's a light skin preference of like light skin black people. So
Yeah, and so
general.
you're telling me there's not a light skin preference in Nigeria?
Then he's like, look at that bitch. This white man is this black, well, he's a white man painted black. This white man painted black has just done what I needed done. So you're going to tell me that there's not a light skin preference? He turns to the black girl. See the lack of solidarity? This is the fool that we need to kick his ass when he leaves school. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, fool, don't contradict shit. Don't let this white man win. Okay. He's like, let me hand this L to my fellow black people. Let me take care of this for you. Because the white man couldn't shake the black woman, and he couldn't shake the black man, but he got his counterpart.
Any Nigerians would disagree, would want to comment on that? Yeah. Anyone want to comment on that? Hang on, hold on, my friend.
I'm Guinean, and there's like a lot of Africans that do like bleach their skin, and that has been a problem that's been going on in Africa, especially West Africa. Like they prefer lighter skinned people, especially like if you introduce someone, they're like, oh, if you're lighter.
Okay, and then we have black person number 2, right? Because this white man, he was not going to have his authority usurped, okay? He was pissed off the black woman wouldn't shake it. He was pissed off the black man wouldn't portray the black woman. Then you had the 2 shades lighter brother just snatch the mic, throw on his cape. It's a light skin. Light skin is preferred, and I'm not even light enough. And then you have the black woman in the audience say, well, hell, I'm hopping on this bandwagon too. We know that there is a preference. But fucking hell, if we're going to be up in a classroom and let this white man build a whole class around white skin superiority, which is exactly what he's about to do. After he has totally broken down and debased the 2 black people who wouldn't turn on each other and got these cape swinging, massa, let me fix it for you, black people to speak up, his whole class then becomes to affirm how everybody loves white skin, and it's not just white people, and therefore white people are not that bad. That is literally the basis for this class. So let's just watch it happen.
Like my sister's lighter than me. They're like, oh, you're so light skinned. How nice.
So do you notice? So I like the average white person, for example, like, do you notice a huge difference between these 2 guys? No, not really, right? The average white person is not going to notice. Bro, we haven't gotten to you yet, my friend. Do you even notice them?
He's asking if the average white person notices, because as I said, when he ends his lecture, his argument is going to be that this is not white people's fault, that non-white people impose this on themselves. I'm telling you right now, this is because of colonization, and this is exactly why we must make black the standard. Meanwhile, both of those black people need their asses kicked. Like, they just really do. And now he's all happy and ready to continue with his lecture because he's got 2 black people to turn on their own. Let everybody else come out and say they prefer whiteness. Why did they have to jump on the bandwagon? Even if that is a dysfunction in our community, let them never know about it. You'll never have the satisfaction of hearing me say it to you for the sake of you teaching a class mostly filled with white people a damn thing. And look at her face. She's all happy. He's happy. Look, she's smug. All these white people are smug because he's broken down. He's broken down the alliance. They're feeling smug now. And it just gets worse.
What's the difference between those 2 guys? Not a huge difference, but
But like both of them in Africa wouldn't make a difference because like they prefer light skin. He's not light
Yeah,
skin.
exactly. Okay, so it'd be like this about like
but
him.
not him. Light skin.
Like give me like so, no, hang on.
Hold on one second, y'all. Let me get my I feel like my speaker is giving up. So let me plug my speaker in because I amplified the sound so you guys could hear it because I learned that from previous that you guys can't hear it if I don't amplify the sound. So, oh, I just bumped my bun. What if I come back on camera and my bun is all crazy?
Wait. Are you, do I not have the right person up here?
No.
Yeah, no, I know that. It's hard. I can't find somebody.
Oh,
Give me somebody. Yo, can you stand up? Can you pick somebody out? Light-skinned black people.
No, she's mixed. That's not.
Yeah?
Like light skin. I don't. No light
Yeah,
skin.
well, I had a guy earlier, but like, do you have anybody? Dude, hang on. You walk around and find someone, and I'm going to bring the next person out. Seriously, you walk around.
She better not walk around that damn classroom and find somebody to add to this fuckery. Are you oh my gosh. Y'all, pardon my French. But if this broad walks around that classroom and finds another black person for this mess, I'm telling you, there needs to be a coalition of just people to give out some beatdowns every time somebody steps out of pocket like this. Like, really? It wasn't enough to contradict him. Now you're about to march around the class and find a human example? Come on now. This is at Penn State. Y'all, I'm so done. I'm so done with Penn State. And like I said, all it takes is one gay white person with tribal jewelry acting liberal to make this okay. To build a whole class around proving that whiteness is preferred by everybody who's not white. He put some non-black people up there just to get away with making an example of black people. And this is insane to me.
Walk around the whole class. No, come on here. Yeah? All right, hang on, Hannah. Hold tight. You can, here, the two of you can stand over here. Okay, hang on. We're going to go with you. Okay, you ready? So you're American.
Okay, so here we go. So this is the black girl I was talking about. Yeah, they do need to get kicked in the seed bag. So this is the black girl I was talking about. He brings her out and says, "You're American." And we know she's American, y'all, because she's going to try to be everything but actually black. So she's going to say, "No, I'm Jamaican." And then he's going to be like, "Oh, you're from Jamaica?" "No, I'm not from Jamaica. I'm from America." Then he's going to be like, "Have you been to Jamaica?" She's going to be like, "No." So the black girl has pointed out this girl who doesn't even want to be black as being light-skinned. She's going to come out and she's going to co-sign on this colorist BS that has now been able to enter in because this woman and this man couldn't get two other black people to just shut the hell up and stay on code.
American. African American? Okay, what's your Jamaican? What's your name?
Toya.
Toya? Okay, in your culture, who's got the most preferable skin?
In my culture?
Yeah. Let's go with, so you spent time in Jamaica? Your parents are Jamaican?
But I haven't been back.
You haven't been back? Okay, so go with the U.S. then. She's not from the U.S., so she didn't respond to the U.S. Yeah, in the U.S. Who's got the most preferable skin in your culture, in your world?
Well, just in the U.S., like the two white boys.
Okay, and what is it about that?
That's just how the world
How about
is.
in the black community in the U.S.? Who's got the preferable skin?
Between those two, it would be the lighter one because I feel like the black community is like biased in a way. Not everybody, but
not you and not your friends, of course.
That's how it is.
Because no one in this room is racist and any of that stuff, right? So this guy, you would say, his name's August.
Look at how the black dude look at that. Y'all, so let's just recap, okay? Let's just recap. He starts a conversation about skin color that's really just about Black people. He brings up a bunch of people and 2 Black people that are very close in color. He then attempts to bring out a white Swedish woman to say that the whitest person in the room is their standard of beauty. Then he brings out an African Black woman who picks out the darkest man and says that that is their standard of beauty. And he goes, oh, no, no, not in Africa. Surely we know they love to be white in Africa too. And she's like, no, no, no. He's the standard. And then he brings a slightly lighter brother next to him and says, well, what about of the 2 of these? Insinuating that the lighter brother would be preferred. And the African woman goes, nope, they're equally acceptable. So he turns to the darkest Black brother and he goes, hey, is this true? Is there not a preference for whiteness? And the darker Black brother goes, no, we're equally acceptable. And then we have the slightly lighter brother literally snatch the mic out of the darker brother's hand and go, hey, massa, white's preferred. And then we have a dark-skinned sister in the audience back him up. And then they bring out the woman who is not light-skinned, but we're calling light-skinned for the sake of this conversation, apparently. And she goes and says that the white people are the standard. And then we watch the class go downhill as person after person come in and say that whiteness is the standard. And he will close the class with proving that all people are racist. It's not just white people. That's the whole point of this lecture.
August. So you feel like he would be, what is it that leads him to be preferenced?
I feel like the Black community, like they like to look at like lighter people, and there's like some sort of bias in the Black community.
What does lighter mean in the Black community?
People just feel like, oh, like she's prettier, he's like cuter because they're light skinned.
So it's prettier and cuter, lighter skin. So he's just automatically more handsome because he has lighter skin than.
And I don't even think that's true, to be real. I think in the Black community, lighter skin is preferred on women and darker skin is preferred on men, if we're to be real. But I also feel like for the sake of one gay, tribal, jewelry wearing white professor, we will not have this conversation in public like that. We will not be at Penn State University letting some gay white man make an example of our people. We can all sit up there and blatantly lie and say darkness is the preference until we start to believe it, versus letting him film this class and make us all look stupid. I mean, past the first 2 Black people who were on code, every other Black person has lost their damn mind in this conversation. Like, there's no way. There's no way that this should be happening, but it's happening nonetheless.
To some people.
To some people, right, exactly. But that's the argument, right? That's the debate in some people. And that's not the case in Nigeria?
He literally won't let this Nigerian girl go. He comes back to her because he's going to break her down. He's going to break her down in front of this whole class. So now we have 3 Black people saying lighter skin is preferred. Hell, she just said white people, period, are preferred. So in Nigeria, that's not the case. That's not the case in Nigeria. He comes back to bully the one Black woman who refused to acquiesce to the fuckery. He's coming back to attack her because apparently there's nowhere on earth where whiteness is not preferred, because that's really what he's saying. In her community, maybe Blackness is preferred, but in his mind, there's nowhere on earth that whiteness is not preferred. No place is untouched by this. Nobody can have a different opinion. And she's being dishonest. She's being intellectually dishonest to say anything different. And let's be honest. Are a lot of us thinking the same thing, that she's being intellectually dishonest? Is it beyond any of us to believe that Blackness is preferred in her part of Nigeria? Because he said in her community, in her culture, where she is from. I mean, just answer that question internally. Are you even having a hard time believing her? Are you having a hard time believing the Haitian man that said that either variation of Black is fine? Or do we all believe in the American perspective that whiteness is better? And if we believe that, then I go to my argument, which is that we need to start and believe in our hearts that the standard for beauty is blackness. The darkest person, the fullest lips, the kinkiest hair. We need to really believe that in our hearts. If it is beyond us to comprehend that that would be the truth anywhere. And this white man is going to have this Nigerian woman back down.
Wait, hang on. There's skin bleaching. Yeah, I got you. Why do people bleach their skin? Like, what's that about in Nigeria?
They're not comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah, okay, hang on. So talk right in the mic.
They might not be comfortable with how their skin looks.
Okay, so in other words, this dude, Tevin? Julian? So Julian here would be more likely to bleach his skin so he'd look like August here.
Yeah.
Why? Like, what's behind?
So he broke her down. Do you see? For those of you who didn't see how this started, you should have seen how she came out. I really respected how she came out. She just picked the darkest brother and was like, he's the one. Now he has her up there talking about actually he would bleach his skin to be lighter. He broke her down. He broke her down. He broke her down. Have you heard of fake it till you make it? She should have rolled with that story to the grave. I'm upset that every Black person didn't. Even if our mentality was so twisted by slavery and colonization that in our heart we believe that, every word that leaves our lip, every action that we take should say otherwise until our children know no different than to believe Blackness is better. But in no way, shape, or form should they have stood up and let this white man play them like that. It would have just been a lie that we all shared, y'all. We would have lied together, okay? We would have lied till the cows came home and made him look dumb. And he could have just known in his heart it was different, but he would never get the affirmation from any of us. And only 2 out of 6 Black people seem to understand that, which is unfortunate. And because so many Black people turned on her talking point, she was forced to acquiesce and admit. And look how happy he is now. He's all patting people. He's just thrilled with himself. He's just tickled freaking pink at this point. Literally pink, because he's pink.
Behind that?
I don't know, like my
Here, hold.
oh, I know someone who.
Do you hear the murmurs coming from the students? You hear a murmur, 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 murmur. Do you hear the murmuring coming from the students? Now that he's broken her down?
I got you. Why do people bleach their skin? Like, what's that about in Nigeria?
They're not comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah, okay, hang on. So talk right in the mic.
They might not be comfortable with how their skin looks.
Okay, so in other words, this dude, Tevin? Julian? So Julian here would be more likely to bleach his skin so he'd look like August here.
Yeah.
Why? Like, what's behind that?
I don't know, like my
Here, hold.
oh, I know someone who, well, one of my, I think my aunt, she bleached her skin, so like she was my complexion.
Yeah.
And now she's lighter than me.
Uh-huh.
Now she said in her family dark skin is preferred, and now she's even backing down on that. I mean, he just has her reverting. The white girl is like, what? The white girl is like, what? But you know what? They paint themselves dark. They literally paint themselves. They call it fake tan. They paint themselves to be dark, but he wants to fixate on dark people wanting to be light. And all these Black people are going to let him do that? I would have been like, it's no different than when you guys paint yourselves to be brown. You know what I'm saying? You guys like being dark? Curly hair people want straight hair people want curly hair. Like, I don't know what is the point you're trying to make here? Blackness is the standard. We know it's the standard because you wouldn't be covering yourself in toxic chemicals to get dark if it wasn't the standard, right? Truth?
Like how much lighter? Like him? Like her?
No.
Lighter?
Like
how much lighter did she get from bleaching her skin?
maybe like 2 shades lighter.
Like so was she his shade?
No, she was
Like your
his.
shade. So about like him.
Yeah.
And so she got like 2 shades lighter, even lighter than him?
No.
Maybe about like him?
I don't really. I haven't seen her since. I haven't seen her since, so I don't know.
You don't know? All right.
I know she bleaches.
You know she bleaches? All right, man. You ready? Dude, we're going to go with you. Okay. So you were Chinese. Yeah? Okay. Hang on. Come over here. What?
So now that he's broken the black people down, he brings out a Chinese woman. We know what she's going to say. Whiteness is the standard, so let's hear her say it.
Up here. Right here. What's your name?
Siki?
Siki?
Yes.
Okay. In your culture, who has the ideal skin?
Ideal skin?
Yep.
Like, probably this guy, the tall guy with the white shirt.
The tall guy? What is it about his skin?
It's pale.
Pale?
Yes.
What does that mean?
It means it's desirable in our culture.
It's what?
It's desirable
Desirable?
by most people.
What makes it desirable?
Oh, he's so happy. Everybody just wants to be white. He's so happy. So he brings her out. She says white's better. Let's see who else he brings out. Oh, he's bringing her out. She's going to say it.
Yeah.
Okay. So in your culture, which of these 5 guys has the ideal skin?
Like just like color wise?
Yeah, just color-wise. Yep.
Probably him on
Him on the end?
Yeah.
What makes his skin ideal?
I mean, it's like not too dark.
Wait.
It's not too dark, and like he's also not that light. So
And if
he's
it
like
was-
in the middle. Like he's kind of like the same color as me.
Yeah? So
Yeah.
your color is...
But I was on spring break, so I'm not this color.
So you're a little darker.
Yeah. I'm lighter.
Okay. Normally you're...
Yeah.
Right. So this guy, what would he...
I mean,
Dude, we're not talking... This isn't you and your friends
Yeah.
and so on.
No, I
because
know, yeah.
we're all enlightened in here. It's just what would be said about him compared to the guy on the end.
I mean, like usually in Egypt, like I was born there, but like I came over when I was a year old. So, but we like go often.
So she's going to say in Egypt, they prefer light skin. It's a preference. It's just light skin, period. Let's see. Oh, but it gets worse, y'all. It gets worse. Remember guy in the blue shirt? Remember how he grabbed the mic literally and threw on his massa cape? He's going to do that again. He's going to take over the whole class. This one black guy in the blue shirt. Okay, he's about to do the buck dance all over the podium.
Have a like, I don't know, nice
Skin you'd want to have or you want to bring home, you know, like if you were dating someone and you brought them home to your parents and like you'd have different conversations about each one of their skin. Imagine they were the exact same person. They looked the same, but you'd have different conversations about their skin. Who would have the ideal skin?
And this is not for me
No,
personally.
not for you.
Okay. I mean, because I would probably give a different answer than
No. Give
most
me
white
the
people
average.
would give. Oh man.
Wait, hang on. We're going to get your answer too. But
Okay.
She said she would give a different answer than most white people, and notice the whole crowd erupted. Like, what you trying to say about us? Us other white people. I cannot.
yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, did you hear somebody in the audience call it out? Racist as fuck. But they're referring to the white girl saying she would have answered the question differently. See, white people, remember, they're starting with this reverse racism crap. So it hasn't been racist until the white girl said she would answer different than other white people. Now, all of a sudden, she's racist as fuck. Did you guys hear that in the audience? Let's just back it up. Listen real closely. Nothing to this point apparently has been racist, but this one white girl saying she was going to answer the question differently than most white people, that's racist as fuck. Like, really? Where is our barometer?
were dating someone and you brought them home to your parents, and like you'd have different conversations about each one of their skin. Imagine they were the exact same person. They looked the same, but you'd have different conversations about their skin. Who would have the ideal skin?
And this is not for me personally.
No, not for you.
Okay. I mean, because I would probably give a different answer than
No. Give
most
me
white
the
people
average.
would. Oh man.
Wait, hang on. We're gonna get your answer too, but
Okay.
yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of white racist people. So.
No. Wait, it's not about racism even. Just who has the ideal skin.
I guess that they would want to have. I would say you.
This guy?
Yeah.
Why not him?
Because I don't know. Generally, there's a lot of white people, at least in the United States, who prefer not to be like, I guess, as pale, which is not.
Look, she's the realest white person in the room, because we know in the United States and in Europe, white people like to be darker. They like to be darker. They don't like to be pale. The Swedish chick came and chose the whitest person in the room. But we know in the EU and Europe and in America, our white people, they are not comfortable with their whiteness. So they tan, they use fake tan, they use chemicals, put it on their body and paint themselves brown. They do all kinds of things to look healthier and sun-kissed. These are their words. These are the words that they use. And she's the only one that's going to admit that, even though his whole course is built around people saying that they want to be white. But we know that white people are mimicking and wanting to not be as white as they are because they lack color. And this is what I'm saying is the way that these Black people were moving, save, before he broke the Nigerian girl down and the brother who he still hasn't broken him down. Okay. He just left him alone. You notice he left that big Black man alone. Okay. He stopped questioning him. He wasn't going to pressure him anymore. But the rest of these Black people, they were really tripping. I mean, they danced all over the place for this white man to help him prove a point. And he's not really too happy with this white woman either, because now she's off code, talking about in America, a lot of white people don't want to be too pale.
Not by any means like any kind of insult. Like everyone.
No, I picked him because he was pale, right?
Right.
No, because I looked at his shirt, because you're really light. So.
Sure.
Okay, so this guy would be more preferable.
Yes.
For
white people in general.
For white people in general. Okay.
Sure.
And just out of curiosity, what about you?
What do you mean? I would want to have?
The idea? Yeah. You had a child, and your child was going to have a particular, and we could go to a sperm bank and
whatever
we could
color they
pick
want to
out.
be.
Yeah.
I'm about to hear. He's about to do something that officially this white man, figuratively speaking, he needs his fucking ass beat. Because listen to what this disgusting man is about to say. He's about to say, if you went to a sperm bank, what are the chances somebody would ask for the donor who had the darkest skin? What are the chances? And the answer he wants is there's no chance, because nobody would want the sperm from a man that has the darkest skin. I swear to you, this is what he is about to say, y'all. And figuratively, he needs his face smashed into the dirt for what he's about to pull. Like, he's getting away with a whole lot in this class, but he's about to go completely berserk with it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wait, so hang on. So if we went to a sperm bank.
Well, I would prefer to have a child with someone that, I don't just pick by their sperm.
Okay, no, hang on. But let's say you couldn't. Okay, what's your name again?
Catherine.
Catherine. Okay, Catherine. So let's say you were married.
Okay.
And you and your husband, everything's rocking and rolling, and literally you've rocked and rolled a lot, and you didn't produce a child.
Okay.
Okay, and so now you're going into the sperm bank. You're just like, well, got to get some sperm, so we want this person. Okay, it'd be really cool if they had a PhD, if they liked math, if they did this, they were good with their hands, and they were an electrician and a plumber and all those things, right? And skin, what tone skin do you want? Just get rid of that. We don't even care. Doesn't matter whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, what's your question?
The question is, if I'm sitting at the table, I'm sitting at the desk in the sperm bank, and I'm like, okay, you want all these qualities, check, 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 check. Oh, hey, Catherine, what about skin tone? What skin tone would you like? Would you like the sperm donor to have? And you would say, just don't forget about that. I don't care. Just whatever it is.
Yeah. Because I mean, I think so. I mean, like, obviously everything's different when you're in the situation.
Okay, hang on a second. And then we showed you a picture with, no, hang on, you're not on the spot.
I know. I
This
feel
is
good.
not,
I
yeah.
feel good. I'm
Okay,
ready.
good. Because
I'm an open book.
no. This is really a lesson. You and I as white.
His point is that nobody wants black sperm. That's his point. He's about to make his point very, very clear because she's not biting. So he's about to lay it out there, and he's going to get away with it.
People were okay.
Ready to learn.
So we're just regular white people. All right. Okay, got it.
I don't know if that's what a high five about, but
So here, we're gonna pick Carlos and Julian. Julian. So the question is, you see a picture we see a little swatch of his skin, and we see a little swatch of his skin. Which one would you say, give me that, give me, and your husband had my skin tone, right? Your partner would look at mine, basically, right?
Okay.
So the two of you.
Okay.
Okay. Who are you gonna pick?
My name is Julian. I would pick Julian.
You would pick Julian?
Yeah.
You and your parents, you and your husband?
Why'd they laugh? She's saying she'd pick the black man. That's what she said. I would pick the black man. And the whole audience bursts out laughing. Really? You'd pick the black man?
I mean,
dude, seriously?
Yeah.
You'd be just like,
skin.
yeah, cool. All
I mean,
right. You don't like his skin, dude.
They both have equally beautiful skin.
Okay, but you're saying like, oh yeah, I'll go with the dark skinned guy.
I mean, yeah, but part of that too is like making sure they like can like relate to us as like parents as well.
Okay.
And so obviously that's something to consider.
Yeah.
But I would pick Julian. I mean.
All right, cool, dude. This is where we want to be, my friend. All right, Julian, dude, you're the man right there. I would pick.
Did you see this white boy right here roll his eyes? He was like, "What the fuck ever." Look at her face. Look at this white boy's face. He looks mad as hell. Like, bitch. Y'all. But he's not going to let it go, okay? He's not going to drill that little white girl like he did that Nigerian girl. Remember how he kept coming and coming and coming for that Nigerian girl who said she preferred blackness until she denied blackness? He's not going to do that to the white girl. But what he is going to do is he's going to go out and ask some more people if they would take black sperm too, to prove his point that nobody wants black sperm. Sperm. Okay? I can't.
Pick Julian too, but that's neither here nor there.
I mean,
all right.
For the record, both equally beautiful skin.
Yeah, it's Carlos. Sorry, my friend. Look here.
For the record, they don't have both equally beautiful skin, but that's okay. I mean, beauty comes in all forms, but Julian does have much more attractive skin.
Here's the thing, right? Anyone want to have anything they would add? If you were doing the same thing in Sweden and you went to a sperm bank, who would you pick? Julian or Carlos?
I would probably take the one that looks most like.
So he went back to the white girl who said white people, the whitest of white is her preference. He's like, 2 blonde chicks, 1 American, 1 Swedish. What will the Swedish chick who already said she prefers white people, what would she do?
Like me.
One that smells like you?
Yeah.
How is that, or why is that?
I don't know.
No, you do know. Why? Hang on. Listen, hey, white people, this is the thing here, right? You can't be racist in this situation. There's no black person or brown person on earth that expects any white person to say, oh yeah, I'll take the really dark-skinned person, right? No, I don't think there is anyone on earth that's going to say, oh no, you should pick this guy because that means you're not racist. Everyone would assume that, of course, you're going to pick someone who looks like you because that's just the nature of it, how this stuff works. Am I right, black people? Am I right? I'm right? That's just the nature.
What's the no black people answered? I think the black people are over his white ass.
Sure, it's not about being racist. Okay, why would you pick the light-skinned guy?
Because he looks Swedish, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. In Nigeria, what would they pick? Sperm bank.
Remember, this is the black Nigerian girl he's been bullying the whole time because she chose the blackest man in the room and said he would be the standard of beauty. And he bullied her until she backed down. So what will she say now that he's conditioned her to be in subservience to him?
I would pick the person that looks like me.
You should pick the one that looks most like you, so it'd be August here. And we know who you'd pick. You'd pick Toth down there.
Oh.
Toth, right?
I was gonna say, why is there like no Asian guy down here?
Like, because we just want skin color. I didn't want to give you an out on that. I will come back to it. No, I just want skin color, and because we grabbed Carlos. And
I think they're all beautiful.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh my God.
Now he even has the class. Oh, they're all beautiful. That's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, he needs to be slapped, y'all. He really, really, really figuratively needs to be fucking punched in the face. I mean, I'm sorry for all the cursing. Like, when he said, who would want the black sperm? Like, I was done. Like,
it's getting sappy in here. Who would you pick? Who do you think most people in the black community would pick?
I mean, between them two, like, it doesn't really matter.
Really? You think they'd pick white people?
No, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you think they'd pick? How many black people you think would go into it? Black Americans, you think would go into a sperm bank and say, I want the darkest sperm donor you could possibly find?
dude, he said, how many black people do you think would go in a sperm bank and said, I want the blackest possible donor you could possibly find? I told y'all he wasn't going to let this go. He wants to prove nobody wants black sperm. And he won't let this go. He's obsessed with black sperm. We've been talking about black sperm for 5 minutes. So now he's going to the black girl and say, how many black people do you think would go to a sperm bank and ask for the sperm of the blackest donor that they have? This is like a conversation. Even the white boy is confused. Look at him. He's like, what the fuck? And he's white. Even he is like, what is going on here? It's bad when even white people are questioning what you're doing.
I want them so dark their skin isn't even black, it's blue, right? How many people would go into a sperm bank and say that?
Yeah, I'm not sure how many would say that.
I think probably hang on a second, hang on. How many black...
Dude, why is he so freaking happy? Why has he got this stupid grin on his face? He's so satisfied with himself right now.
Black Americans, do you think it would go into a sperm bank and say, I want the darkest sperm donor you could possibly find?
Probably not many.
Probably not many. Yeah, why do you think that is? Talk right into the mic.
I don't know. I guess like.
Talk right into the mic.
Okay. I guess people just like face like a lot of hatred. I guess like from having like dark skin, like growing up, like being a child, like people always like kind of make fun of you.
So somehow associating negative skin with really.
So I guess like maybe you wouldn't want that for your child.
Yeah. Dude, do you have a comment on that? How many black Americans would go into a sperm bank, do you think, as a Haitian?
Dude, so finally he's gotten up the courage to go back, because remember, he left that black guy alone. When the Nigerian girl said blackness is the standard, and he tried to get this tall, handsome black man to go against what she said, he refused to do it. He said in Haiti, black is the standard. Then he pulled the little, caping, buck dancing black boy in the blue shirt And he said, well, what about between the two of you? And this is the black guy that said, you know what? Both of our skin is equally acceptable. Now, after that, he left this black man alone and he beat down that Nigerian girl into submission to make whiteness the standard. Now he's gotten his balls up because he's been talking about black sperm for half of the class period now, like literally talking about the sperm of black men and people's desire for black sperm. This is the conversation we're having, y'all. And now he's feeling bold to go back to this black man and try to press him.
Right? We're going to sperm bank saying, give me I want sperm from the darkest man you could possibly find.
Damn, not that many. Like for the dark, like looking for exactly for the darkest.
Yeah.
Not that many.
What would be behind that?
I think that like if you go to Haiti, there's like a lot of different color, like light skin, dark skin, all that, medium skin. And I feel as though they would go on that spectrum with like the light skin with the dark skin. It wouldn't necessarily matter if that person has to be the darkest skin, but it would be on the spectrum of like color.
Yeah, got it. Did you have anything to add to that?
I just feel like we should have an actual light-skinned black person up here.
What's that?
I think an actual light-skinned black person is like what most people would choose. Like most black people under sperm bank, they choose someone who's
go find me someone.
Oh, here he comes with his cape and his buck dance again. Don't forget, this is the one that snatched the mic out of the other brother's hand and was like, absolutely not, we love whiteness. Okay. And now that he's got the mic back, he's going to double down on his previous buck dance with an encore buck dance. Let's watch it happen.
Somebody real fast. You guys go find me someone. No, wait, go find me somebody.
I mean, this mixed girl right here, she's mixed, obviously, but like that's like what,
who's that?
Right here. Side.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Her?
Yeah, I mean, like something more like that. Is like
you really?
Something more like that is like.
Hang on, can you come here a second? Oh yeah. All right, here we go. I was trying to choose all guys. So, all right. What's your name?
Heaven.
What is it?
Heaven.
Heather?
Heaven.
Heaven. Oh shit, Heaven from day one. Oh my God. So what is it about? Hang on, hold on. What is it about Heaven?
I don't know. I think it's just so like my grandparents, 3 of the 4 of them are like dark skinned black, and my grandmother's like mostly white, but she's like grew up in the black community. She's a little bit black, and her husband is really dark, and my grandmother's whole family never.
So let's be real. Do I want to stop it here? Is he going to say anything else that's going to piss us all off? Probably. He's going to say a lot of things to piss us off. But let's just go ahead and stop here, and I want to have the conversation. So we saw Heaven. Let's go to Heaven. Let's try to find a front view of Heaven. So we saw Heaven. I think as we're having this conversation here on this channel, my sister looks a lot like Heaven, except for her hair is naturally honey blonde. This girl has dyed her hair blonde. So she's got a complex all of her own. But my sister looks like Heaven. My sister's not mixed, right? She has 2 parents that are my color. She is not mixed. And if we are honest, colonization has made that proximity to whiteness something that is desirable in our people. Let me go ahead and end this because we don't need to watch any more of this, y'all. We've done the most. Okay, so if we're honest, our colonization and our proximity to whiteness has made that look more popular. But let's be real. First of all, the way this white man was moving in this class, he needs to catch a beat down. Okay, first and foremost. His obsession with black sperm was weird. The way he bullied that Nigerian girl for not immediately acquiescing to whiteness being the preferred look was disgusting. And just a lot of stuff in this class was backward. And y'all, let me tell you, he films a lot of his classes and we could do a whole week, okay, plus of just analyzing his classes. This white man gets away with murder in his classes, like actual murder. But what I want to discuss with you guys is everything that we saw here today and why it is important, even if we don't believe it in our hearts in a literal sort of way, that we make the blackest person the standard of beauty, that we make the kinkiest hair the standard of beauty. And again, as I said in the beginning, I say this knowing that means I wouldn't be the standard. A lot of us wouldn't be the standard. We make the widest nose, the fullest lips, the standard of beauty. When that little Swedish chick came up and was totally uncode and was like, the whitest person in the room is our standard. We need to be like the blackest person in the room is our standard, even though we know that there is a pathology because of colonization, that is not always the case. It may be our personal standard, but that's not our community standard. Second of all, we will never, ever, ever, we should never step off code to the point where we would even have this conversation and let a white person lead it, where we admit that whiteness is preferred over our blackness. That was just some twisted stuff. These are young children. Like, I have children, these kids' age. So, like, I can understand how they got backed into that corner, but this would have been a whole nother conversation with a different group of Black people with some sense. Okay. He can get away with this stuff with college students, but he wouldn't have got away with this stuff with somebody that was his age. Okay. But we have to. And so I just go back to, like I said, the everything just aligned, because I did that video on colonization, and somebody was in the chat was asking me, did I know about colorism in India? And yes, I do know about that, because that's in my decolonization video. But making that video, like I said, the conversation on Nyla's channel about Cajun versus Creole people, what Bomb Cherry said about, she's a very light-skinned woman, light eyes, why blackness in its blackest form should be promoted. Why couldn't we just promote all Black people, from her color to the darkest? And then when I saw this, I was like, I've got to do this video, because this conversation and what we saw play out here is exactly why Blackness has to be treated as the standard. And even if we don't believe it in this generation, we should brainwash our children into believing it, and our grandchildren into believing it, until it's the truth. That the blackest person in the room, with the darkest, most rich skin, the fullest lips, the widest nose, the complete opposite of whiteness, is the standard of what beauty and acceptable is in our community. That's not to diminish any of us other people in the Black community, but that's to protect ourselves against what white people clearly know, and the thing that makes them happy, right? This is the thing that they're happy with. And it also plays into a myth, right? Because at the same time that we've been brainwashed that they're the standard of beauty, they go out of their way to mimic Black beauty. And I think we really have to take a look at that and reevaluate where we stand on this topic. So you guys know I already did a live today. It was kind of like a chill with me live. I don't really leave those up because I'm trying to keep the content on the channel very concise. So I'm sorry for those of you who did not see that. I really want you guys to thumbs up the video. Please leave your comments below as well. Hold on, I have a screaming baby. Okay, yeah, sorry. That was my 4-year-old. So that's probably my cue to go, since my baby is definitely probably ready for a second nap. But with that said, I think that that's really important. And I feel that those of us who don't meet that standard, we don't have to be afraid of that standard being pushed over and above us, because at the end of the day, it benefits us too. Do you know what I mean? Because as he was pointing out, most white people don't know the difference unless there's a significant difference. But we know the difference. And the only way we're going to combat and make what the point that he was pushing so hard and he knew he could make, and he knew he could get Black people to co sign on it, the only way we are going to overcome that is to stop perpetuating it, and for our youth to teach them something different as the truth. And then it will be their truth, right? And then when we have these conversations and say that Blackness is preferred, it won't just be us staying on code, it will be the truth. And so, with that said, I want to go ahead and they're not bad, Dr. Evil Hands. He's just 4. He's just 4. And you know what's crazy though, y'all, is I'm on the 3rd floor and they're on the 1st floor. So I shouldn't be able to hear him that well because we're literally like 2 floors away from each other, but I can still hear him. So with that said, yeah, melanointed, that's cute. It was disgusting. That's true. Um, so with that said, I'm going to get out of here. I will see you guys tomorrow. I told you on all of my channels, I'm going to try to have a live every day. What time of the day they'll be coming up, I can't really say, but they will be coming up at different times of the day. And I'm back on the bandwagon now that I'm done with my move and everything like that. And so I appreciate you guys showing up. Be sure to like the video. Please leave a comment on your feelings on this issue. And also, Q Butters Institute is doing their fundraising for the new year. So I always leave those links in my comment section. Please, if you have $1, if you have 5, be sure to click that link and donate to the Institute. It's an all Black institute. It's educating Black children. My children attend. It's no cost to the parents, which means that there's a big cost to him and his business. And with that said, I'm out of here, you guys. Thank you so much.